Bullinger. This video is for Monday, and as you can tell, we're getting close to April, which is Easter, so we're going to start doing some Easter activities. But first, I need to tell you about some things I did over the weekend, because this Friday we're going to get to have Share Day, and I want to hear you share about some things you've been doing, or about some things that this Friday is Share Day. And what I did over the last couple of weekends, and actually a little bit during the week, is something that has to do with science. And this Friday, our Share Day theme is going to be science. And you might be saying, how are we going to share when we're not at school? Well, you're going to be able to share in our Zoom meeting on Friday. So if you want to send me a picture, you can send me a picture, or you can just hold it up. It's a little harder for people to see if you hold it up, but if you send me a picture, if you want to send me a couple of pictures, you can, and I'll give you a chance to talk about what your share thing is, if you like. Now, you don't have to do as much as you usually do, where I know some of you actually write out ahead of time a long thing of what you're going to say, because you won't really be able to talk too much, but you can. It's mostly going to be the picture that you're going to show. Now, what I'm going to share with you is how I planted a garden. And that has to do with science, because plants have to do with science, and seeds have to do with science, and how they grow. That's a science thing, right? So I'm going to show you in these pictures what I did. So what happened first was, we have a big space for our garden in the back of our backyard. I started my garden when my kids were really little, and it was a teeny tiny garden, and then it kept getting bigger and bigger. And the last few years, honestly, we haven't done too much with it. But we decided this year we have time, because we're home a lot, and so we're going to be. We said we would plant a garden. So the first, we had to get rid of all the weeds that had grown up since when our garden ended, like at the end of the summer, and we just kind of let it go. So my husband and Johnny and I pulled the weeds, and in this picture of Johnny standing here with a rake, you can see 2 big trash cans full of weeds that we pulled and we hoed. And I was really tired, and I felt like I got a good workout. Then Clark took the rototiller that we rented, and he dug up the garden so it was all dirt. So you can see this picture of him rototilling the garden. Next, we covered the garden with this black weed guard. So it kind of looks weird at first when you plant it, because there's this black kind of fabric over it. Then this is a picture of Darcy cutting out holes for us to put in the plants. Next, my husband, Mr. Bullinger, planted corn seeds. And then in this picture, you can see me planting a pepper plant. So some of the things we planted were from seeds, like corn, zucchini, sunflowers, let's see, green beans. Those were from seeds. So when you look at the garden, all you see is a hole with nothing. And then we actually had plants that were already started. There were tomatoes, and then we had those big cages around the tomatoes, and then we had some peppers, like green peppers and jalapeno peppers. So that was my sharing for this week. And on Friday, you can share. Okay, for reading, we're going to do something a little different today. Reading and art are going to be going together, because it's going to take you a little while to read this book. So we'll go ahead and continue with Sarah Plain and Tall tomorrow. We will definitely finish Sarah Plain and Tall this week and have some time for you to do your own reading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a video of random YouTuber reading the Easter Egg Farm. Normally I would read you this book, and this is a really cute book. I really love it. A woman who has hens, and she has a special hen that lays eggs that are different. And what happens is, when she looks at something, she ends up laying an egg that looks like that thing. So here, the hen was looking at a ladybug, and she lays an egg that looks like a ladybug. And then, later on, at the very end of the book, what happens is the eggs hatch, and then the hens look like, let's see if I can find it, look like what their egg looked like, kind of. So the hens end up being really colorful, and some of them end up being really pretty when they grow up. Okay? So you're going to listen to this book and read along with it for your reading, and then you're going to start your art project. Now this is going to take you a couple of days to do because I want you to do a really good job on it. So I'm going to give you some time today and tomorrow to work on it. Today I want you to mainly focus on coloring it. And what you're going to do is there's going to be this is the chick, and this is the egg. And then there's going to be another part that you're going to trace to make a body. So the egg and the chick have to have the same pattern on there. And on the website I put some examples of different patterns. And a pattern is like a design, and maybe it could be a picture, but a lot of times it's not necessarily a picture. It's something like a zigzag or a checkers or stripes or things like that. You can make little pictures, but this is the tricky part. You have to make sure that your pictures can be turned in any direction and look right. So if you did a baseball, you could turn a baseball upside down and it would still look right. But if you did something like a person or a happy face, what's going to happen is this egg, to open up, you can see this picture here. Maybe Anya can zoom in on it a little bit. At the end, you're going to use the egg and attach it so that the egg becomes the wings and they're turned upside down. So if you do something on the egg and it has to have like this ways up, then you're going to turn it around and it's going to be upside down. So you have to just make sure whatever pattern you choose, it will look fine if it's right side up or upside down. Sometimes what kids do on this is they'll put patterns where they put them any direction, like some of them are upside down, some of them are right side up, and kind of rotate them. And that can work, but just kind of think it out before you start putting patterns where there's really a top and a bottom, because this egg, the wings are going to switch around. Okay? So today, I want you to just work on coloring this. And tomorrow, we'll cut it out and put it together. Now we're going to talk about our spelling. We're on spelling list 27, and these are our sounds. Or in fork, or in store, or in roar, and this one is or with a W, so you can say whir in worm. That's a little different. So I'm going to be simplifying our spelling assignments a little bit. I'm going to have you just go ahead and cut out these words on sort 27 and glue them on. So you're taking 105 and you're gluing it on 107 today. So you're not going to save the words for next time. Let's just glue them down and simplify things a little bit here. Okay, let me show you an example. Let's say we choose the word horse. Now, at first when I saw this, I said, oh, there's an or and there's an E on the end. Maybe that should be under or like shore. But wait a second here. There's an S in there. So that kind of messes up the O-R-E thing. So let's put this underneath or like form, because horse goes with this pattern. Okay? So make sure when you're gluing them on, you're thinking about them and practicing your spelling. Now we're going to go to our handwriting book. Now the way we're going to do handwriting, we're going to kind of get into a rhythm where on Mondays we do day 1 and on Tuesdays we do day 2 and so on. And then we're going to only do 4 days and we'll have 1 day off. Okay, so for day 1, we're doing E. And remember, I'm just using a pen so you can see it, but use a pencil. For an E, it's going to be a lot like a capital C. It's going to be a lot like a backwards 3. You're going to go around, loop-de-loop, connect. Make sure you're hitting the top line and the bottom line. Now let's look at the lowercase. You're going to start at the bottom line, loop it around, and connect. Okay, for math, remember, if you come to the Zoom session, I will go over some of this and give you some help. So we always meet at 9:15 every day, and I would love to see you at Zoom to help you a little bit more with your math. But we're going to be on 593, we're telling time. So on this, you're going to follow the directions, and you're going to write in the missing numbers on the clock, and then you're going to draw the hands to show 4 o'clock. Let's do it with this clock. Now on my clock, if I move the minute hand, the hour hand also works. Now to show 4 o'clock, I want the hour hand, which is the small hand, pointing right at the 4. And remember that the minute hand, when it's pointing at 12, that's like o'clock or 00. So 4:00 would be 4 o'clock. When you're just telling time on the hour, every single time when it's exactly the hour, the big hand is going to be pointing at the 12. So let's do another one. Can you tell me what this time is? Oops, my bad. What time is this? Well, the hour hand's pointing to the 7, and the minute hand is pointing to the 12, so it's 7 o'clock. You're going to practice today the times that are exactly on the hour, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, like that. And there's 2 kinds of clocks. We're learning how to read an analog clock. Analog clock has an hour hand and a minute hand. Now remember, the hour hand is small, like the word hour. The minute hand is long, like the word minute. This is a digital clock. Most people have digital clocks in their houses because all the things like computers and ovens and things like that have digital clocks where it says the hour and then the minutes after. Now, something interesting about the digital clock, when it's exactly on the hour, you have to put 2 zeros. Okay? And then when it goes a couple of minutes and it's 2 minutes after 3, you have to put 3:02. You've seen that on your clocks at home, right? All right, so let's talk about this. This time, the hour hand is pointing on the 9, and the minute hand is pointing at the 12, so that means it is 9 o'clock. So you put 9:00, which is 9 o'clock. Now, an hour is 60 minutes, so it takes 60 minutes for this small hand, the hour hand, to move from 9 to 10. So it's going to actually be moving very, very slowly. You can't really see it. The minute hand moves around faster, and you can see each minute that's going by. It moves every time there's 60 seconds. And so you'll see it moving little by little. Okay, since I'm sitting here, I'm going to show you something that you can do for extra credit. We did not do the foldable, which you can do for extra credit. You're going to do it like it shows right here in this picture, and it's going to tell you a time, and then you're going to write it on your analog clock, and you're going to put AM or PM and the time. Also, what you can do for extra credit is cut out these vocabulary cards. Later on in the week at Zoom, I believe it'll probably be on Wednesday, you can bring these cards and the foldable to Zoom, and we'll talk about that a little bit. If you don't do the extra credit, you can just bring your book and we'll go over it that way. But you do get extra credit if you cut out these cards and do the foldable. Now for your Scholastic activity, which is going to be science today. Now, I gave you a new little booklet, and this one has a butterfly on it. So it'll be easy to figure out where you're supposed to write this, because I'll say, look in your butterfly booklet. And then next week, I'll give you a new booklet with a different animal on it. Okay, so for the activity today, you're going to be looking at some pond animals. And there's going to be some books, and there's going to be a video, and then what you're going to get to do is play charades. And charades is when you act something out without making a sound. Now for this one, you can also maybe have a round where you do the sounds. So before you do charades though, you're going to need to take your page, like this. You don't have to draw a picture this time. You're just going to make a list of some of the animals in the video and the sounds. So for example, or the actions. So like you could put frog, and then you could put croaks or hops, something like that. You could put water strider, and then you could have it walking on the water. Okay, so first make a list of some of the animals and what they do or what they say, and then you can act them out for your family, and they can try to guess what you're doing, and you get to play a little game and move around. Now for your recess activity that's optional. That is going to be preparing for Share Day. So you can go through the things that you have. You can go through your toys. You can look at your books and see if you can figure out something to share with the class about science. So for sharing, we're going to be doing something that has to do with science. And I realized we already did science. Our activity was supposed to just be something that had to do with bugs. So you can still do bugs if you want. But I'm going to kind of broaden it to any science. If you'd rather do a different kind of science, that's okay. We are working on our insect projects and all of that right now. So if you'd like to do something that has to do with insects or spiders or any kind of bug, that's okay. But if you have something else that is sciencey, that's a different kind of science, like I was doing plants, although I could have told you about the bug that I found when I was digging things up. It was kind of an icky bug when I was digging in the garden. But I could have told you about that bug, but I was really focusing more on the plants. So if you like to just do a different kind of science, like the way things move or animals, that's okay too. But if you want to just get into our bug unit a little bit more, you can go ahead and pick something that has to do with an insect. But prepare that, and then on Friday at Zoom, you can send me pictures during the week and share about that. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.